Now, today I'm back with Matt from Peter Beales Roses, and we're going to be talking about bare root plants. Matt, thank you very much for joining. We've got some plants next to me. Now, this time of year as a content creator, especially when it comes to roses, I get bombarded with questions about bare root plants. People are often incredibly confused.
Yeah.
And you can see why, because the plant's going to arrive in the post looking something very much like this.
Yeah, quite scary.
And a little bit, let's say, I mean, it's a little bit uninspiring, isn't it, to look at?
Yes. Yeah, I think if you don't know what you're expecting, or you've never seen a bare root plant before, it can be a little bit off-putting.
Yeah. I think the thing that people struggle most with is it going to do what I want it to do by the time, for instance, a potted plant does if I plant it now?
And the answer is yes. Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Essentially, bare root roses and container roses are the same rose.
Yeah.
One has been put in a pot and one hasn't.
Yeah.
And the great thing with these is you can just dig a nice hole, prepare it as you would.
Yeah.
Get it in the ground, and away the roots will go. And next year, you're going to have beautiful flowers.
Okay, so it's really good to hear. So most people are really, really concerned that, say, the plant is for some reason either inferior, and it's going to take more. The biggest concern is it's going to take a longer time to actually get itself established and actually reach flowering point. I often say to people, it does look really uninspiring, but it has absolutely everything it needs. The other thing that people are really concerned by is how to store it when it actually arrives. Obviously, this is going to arrive in a paper bag, all wrapped up. What do they do when they get the rose home?
So if you're ready to plant straight away, fantastic. Chances are you won't be. So they can sit comfortably in a bucket of water for 10 days.
Yeah.
If you're not looking to plant, and if it's going to be longer than that, then really you want to then heel it in. So dig a trench somewhere in the garden, lay them at a slight angle, just cover the roots fully with the soil. And
now, I'm going to interject because again I get lost. Can I do that in a bucket of compost?
Yes,
absolutely. I mean, worst case scenarios, if you had a container garden, or if you had a garden that you don't have a space ready for, you could go out and buy yourself a bag of compost, and you could do this in a large bucket.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And how long could we keep it like that for?
So that could be months.
Okay.
I mean, traditional storage of bare roots before kind of cold stores came along would have been heated in, so they'd have been healed in the ground in that kind of method from beginning of October time all the way through until March.
Yeah.
So they're perfectly fine like that. But
I often say to people that you really want to move a rose that you've had healed in, get it into its final location in the garden before you start seeing any growth. So
ideally,
if it's starting to break bud, that means below soil it's making root, and you don't want to disturb those really fine hair-like roots. And you're obviously going to set it back a little bit. So I normally say by the time the weather starts to improve, I'm telling people you really want to move them into their final locations by about the end of February, beginning of March, when it starts to warm up. Now, this is the thing that really confuses people. How long have I got to deal with this? I mean, I had a message from a good friend, hi Jen, the other night. She said, I've had my bare root rose delivered. Do I need to go out with a head torch on? Do I need to get it in the ground right now?
No, it should be absolutely fine. I mean, to be honest, even in the bag that it comes in, it would be okay in the bag for 3 or 4 days. If they start to dry out a bit, once you get it out of the bag, pop it in a bucket for a few hours before you're going to plant it, just to rehydrate it. Okay. But no, I wouldn't be putting a head torch on.
So there's no need for them no need for everybody to go out and dig in the dark and get themselves all in a tiz while they're at it. Okay. Now, the biggest thing as well, because obviously my channels span different continents, we have different things coming from different people. Most roses in the UK, we're talking about 95% of them are supplied as a grafted rose. So you can see what I'm talking about. We're talking about a rootstock below ground with a graft point here. This is the budded stock growing above ground, and this is the variety that you've purchased. And below ground is obviously the rootstock.
Correct.
People get really confused about where to place the union or the graft point. And again, it causes mass hysteria. Absolute mass hysteria. And of course, the information we've been giving people has changed over recent years because the climate's changed. Where are you suggesting this now goes?
So for me and everyone here, we all plant the same to about 1 inch or so's depth. That gives you plenty of room for growth from the roots. Yes. But also when you're weeding, you've taken away all that level of soil. So eventually, after a year or so, as the growth, it will naturally bring itself up. Yeah. The soil level will come down, so you're going to be closer to almost flat on, but around about 1 inch or so, 1.5 below the ground is perfect.
Okay, and that just gives that union point. Now, if speaking in layman's terms, this is going to be the weakest or most vulnerable part of the plant, isn't it? Because we're bringing together 2 different plants together. So if disease or cold is going to get into, this is what you really want to protect.
That's right.
The other thing that people seem to be really, really worried about is if they have got roses in their garden that they've planted over the last decade, for instance, I get this asked this an awful lot, do I need to go and dig them up, and do I need to replant them? And of course my answer to that is always no.
No, true.
And the other thing they get all carried about is, I've planted a plant, and if they haven't healed it in properly and really compacted the soil, they then water it, and over a period of months, maybe a year, the soil level around the plant slumps.
Yes.
And they're concerned that this union point or graft point is now exposed. And I say to people, actually, you can now mulch over it. So you can now put bark or mushroom compost or garden compost you produce in your own bin. And is that nice, good sound advice?
Definitely. Yeah, mulching is always great. You know, if you get into that habit of doing it every year anyway, it doesn't become a chore. It will never drop that far. But yeah, it is a point to protect. Also by it being higher, it's then you've got that risk that it's going to rock around. The ground can't secure it as well. Yeah. Which then creates more problems. Yeah. If you planted it last year and it's doing that and it was wrong, and you think, do you know what, you'd be fine to do that year one. Yeah. After that, I wouldn't even consider it. But you could fix a cane really close to it.
Careful, you're going to bite you.
Nearly got me there. Tie, whether it's a cable tie, whether it's a bit flexi tie, so something sturdy to stop it from moving about.
Stop it rocking around.
And then just carry on mulching.
Because this is going to be something that's particularly prevalent if you bought a variety that's particularly big and it's going to get 5-6 feet up. And,
that's it.
For instance, I mean, RNLI is a small variety, but come the latter part of the season, it's not unusual for that to send up sort of canes that are 5 feet high. Yes. And those are the ones that are obviously going to be dangerous for the plant rocking around in the winter.
True.
Okay, right, some really good points there. Hopefully we've managed to settle some people down. Again, people get confused with which way up these go, and I don't understand where people are coming from. I mean, it's fairly apparent which way up it goes. Green bits up, spiky bits up, roots down. So yeah, it's quite apparent to me. The other thing that I get is people say, right, I want to give it, I'm worried that it's going to be too cold. Shall I bring it into the greenhouse? Shall I put it in a pot and bring it into the greenhouse?
Yeah, no, there's no need.
Okay.
They are, this time of year, they are in their dormant stage, so they are absolutely fine. They'll comfortably cope in -10, probably below.
Yeah.
No, heat temperature is of no.
I often say to people, and I'm glad you've cemented that for me, that actually, if you pop this in a pot and pop this in the greenhouse, people want to protect them from the weather. They think this is fragile. They think this is gonna die in the cold, which is not the case. I mean, as you said, it can take down temperatures down to -10, -15 quite happily. The rose needs to be outside. It needs to take the weather. Otherwise, if you put it in the greenhouse, for instance, in a pot, it's going to wake up a lot earlier than it needs to, and you're then going to have to actually harden it off. You're going to have to acclimatise it to being outside. And you've got a point actually when if you've brought it on too soon and it's got, for instance, leafy growth on it, and you put it outside in March, that is the growth that's then going to get frosted off, and that's the point you're going to get damage on.
True. Okay. Yeah, very true.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, no, they are really tough. So you can just kind of get them in the ground, and if you can get them in the ground November, December time, they will benefit even more so than going in January, February time. Just because they've got that extra time over winter for their roots to do their thing. Which is then going to help flowers May, June, July. Okay.
All right. The rain has unfortunately completely turned my nose into a very, very pretty pattern. But a lot of people are thinking that these also need extra care, that you need to look after these with kid gloves. What kind of aftercare are we talking about?
To be honest, exactly the same as you would with the potted rose. So once it's in the ground, we've fed it as it's gone in. April time, get some granular feed around it. Give that a sort of a spuddle in, and and then
a spuddle.
Spuddle. So that's
that's a
Norfolk thing. So it's just kind of semi-mixing it through the surface.
Titivating.
Yeah, nice little word. And then from probably mid-May, June time, then just start with your liquid feed, which you'd be doing if it was a container rose as well. So really, they are essentially the same. So
And environmentally, I mean, I've said in my planting tutorials that ordering a rose like this without a pot, much better for the environment, much more sustainable. So easier to handle, a lot less packaging, no plastic pot for you to deal with. Because let's face it, as gardeners, we've got plenty of plastic pots, which all have really good intentions of doing something with, but never actually do.
True.
Right, so I think we've covered all of the topics that I get asked and all of the funny questions that I get asked online. Matt, thank you very much for joining me.
You're very welcome.
Now, last question. Would you recommend a bare root rose plant over a potted rose plant? What should you prefer to plant in your garden?
For me, yeah, bare root. It's just easier, to be honest. Yeah. But even when it comes to storage, if you go and buy 5 or 6 plants in pots, and they've got to sit somewhere until you can plant them, it's a lot of room that's taken up. Whereas 6 or 7 bare roots comfortably sits in a bucket.
I'm chuckling to myself because everybody knows on the podcast and on my channels that I'm shuffling around an awful lot of roses in pots at the moment, which I simply don't know what to do. And there is the threat that another 60 are going to arrive any day. And you think, oh my goodness, where I'm going to put those? So you would see no negative impact from buying a bare root plant over a potted one?
Absolutely not. No.
Right, Matt, it's been wonderful to catch up with you again.
No
Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I'll see you again soon.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
All right.